welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in today's video, I'm going to describe to you my knitting journey as a crocheter. So let's just rewind a little bit. So I love making things, and everyone that knows me knows this. I love baking, I love cooking, I like sewing, I like doing my hair, I like crocheting, I like animating. I just have a lot of different hobbies. And the last time that I ever knitted something was when I was like 5 years old, and that's when I learned how to do the knit stitch, which is very, very common in knitting. It's like a very beginner stitch. So I have not picked up a pair of knitting needles in a very, very long time, because right now I'm 18. So think about it, I started knitting when I was 5, and then I stopped. So for a good I'd even say 10 years or so. Haven't done it in a very long time. And I am the type of person that just loves scrolling through Pinterest. Pinterest is my source of inspiration. I love seeing what other people make, whether it's crocheting, whether it's sewing, baking, cooking, whatever. It's like the home of inspiration for me. So I looked at a lot of knit products, and I was like, this looks so nice, especially knit jumpers, leg warmers, gloves, and things like that. I just love how perfect knitting looks. And crocheting, some of the projects are a bit bulky, especially when you make chunky cardigans or cardigans and jumpers in general. It just doesn't have that seamless look. So I was like, I have to learn how to knit something. So I went out and then I bought all of the necessary equipment. I bought this really nice blue yarn, stitch markers, and I bought three different types of knitting needles. So I bought straight knitting needles, which is 8mm long, and then I bought the same millimeter but as round knitting needles, and then I just got another one 3mm, because why not? I can have a bit of variety. And then I was ready. I was ready to knit my first project. So I love throwing myself in the deep end. I'm going to be so honest with you guys. When I first started crocheting, I just wanted to make the most complex project. I wanted to make clothes. I wanted to make teddy bears and stuff when I didn't even know how to hold a crochet hook. So I like learning from making things. But with knitting, that was different. I was so humbled when I started learning how to knit. I searched up a tutorial how to make a cable knit sweater, and I just had to go back to the basics. They were telling me, oh, you need to do a purl stitch, so you're gonna knit one, purl one, and I'm like, what's a purl? Like, I tried looking at what they were doing to like slow down the video and see what they're doing, but I didn't. No clue. And for some reason, I struggled so much with the purl stitch. That took me a whole day to understand, because I decided to wake up at 5 a.m. Whenever I have these types of projects, I love waking up early, so I have the whole day to perfect it. And then guess what? I learned how to do the stitch towards the end of the day. Can you imagine? It was so complicated for no reason. Okay, so finally I learned how to do the purl stitch, and then I looked at the cable knit and I was like, you know what? let me do a beginner project. So I decided to watch a video on how to make a basic sweater, and I was like, okay, that's fine. So it started off with 1x1 ribbing. So I had to knit one stitch, then purl one, knit one, purl one, and just repeat that for a lot of rows. And I did that for 11 rows to make the bottom ribbing. So I was getting so excited. I was showing my mom, I was like, look, I can knit. So after I did the 1x1 ribbing, I decided to do a stockinette stitch for the rest of the cardigan. So that's basically where you knit one row and then you purl the other row, knit one row, purl the other row, and yeah, that's all you do for the rest of the cardigan. So after I built up the cardigan, I needed to learn how to make the shoulder pieces and everything, and this piece took me a very, very, very long time to do, and I just kept getting frustrated because of how long it was taking. And I also think that I cast it on the wrong amount, because if I continued with this, it's going to be a very fitted jumper, and that kind of defeats the point of a jumper. It's supposed to be big, it's supposed to be cozy. So I was kind of discouraged, because I was like, I now have to take everything apart, because I tried it on like the front piece and it was not looking good. And at this point, I was like, you know what? I don't even want to finish knitting this. It's just taking long. It's frustrating. It's annoying to do because I have to take everything apart now and then cast on another amount and just make it bigger. And that the thought of me starting completely from the beginning again was just like, no thank you. So I decided to crochet instead. So right now I am working on this cardigan, that I've never made before. It's made in panels. It's not made using granny squares. So far I've got the front pieces done and I'm working on the back. I actually took such a long break from making this because I had to redo the back because it wasn't even. And restarting crocheting projects is a lot better than restarting knitting projects, because if you make a mistake while knitting, you have to take everything off the needles and then pull the yarn to unravel it, and then you have to put the loops on the knitting needles, which is a very hard process because you might drop stitches and you might end up undoing more rows than you wanted to, and it's just like really annoying. So with this knitting project, I didn't even bother just unraveling it. I was like, I'm starting this whole thing all over again. So I took the whole knit project out so I could use the yarn for crocheting, and I think I will go back to knitting at some point. I think when I'm old and I have all the time in the world to knit a jumper. But it is fun, but it's just that it takes long. And I'm the type of person that just likes making things quick. So I think that's my biggest downfall when it comes to learning new things. I just want to learn quick. I want it to be done quick. But at least I know how to knit. I know how to knit now. And I forgot to mention, in this whole knitting phase, I learned how to do a long tail cast on, and I learned how to purl and then do a stockinette stitch. I already knew how to do the knit stitch, so that wasn't really anything new. So yeah, it was a very fun process when I was just started learning, not when I started actually making a project. But I think I will go back to it. I need to go back to it and actually do a project. But I'll make another video me finishing off this crochet cardigan because it's definitely something that I've never made before. I used a different technique as well, so it'll be really fun to explain to you guys how I make this crochet cardigan. But yeah, that is the end of today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I did not discourage you guys if you want to start learning how to knit. This is just my personal experience, and I do see myself doing it when I have free time. But yeah, alright guys, that is the end of today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and as always, I will see you in the next one.